What does the face of homicide in Calgary look like? In one way, it looks like this. A 32-year-old man stabbed to death in the Beltline in 2008. Every killing is a tragedy. Homicide rips apart lives, families, and communities. Every victim's story deserves to be told, but there are other stories to be told too. Not from the individual victims, but from the victims collectively. I'm Jason Van Rassel.
I'm Clara Ho. Here at the Herald, we've spent months compiling data about every murder in the city over the last quarter century. And in that data, we've learned a lot about the ultimate crime in our community. For example, there were 505 homicides in Calgary between 1990 and the end of October 2015. It's from this data that we determined the face of homicide mentioned earlier. That character wasn't a real person. It was a composite, built from averages.
There's more to be learned from these numbers. Males, for example, are more likely to be killed than females. Stabbings are the most common type of homicide. The year 2008 had the most homicides. The Beltline is the community that has seen the most killings.
But those numbers only tell part of the story. Digging deeper unearths some more revealing statistics, some of which contradict long-held assumptions. Men and women, for example, tend to be victimized in different ways. For both male and female victims of homicide, acquaintances were involved in many cases. Women and girls, however, were much more commonly killed by a member of their family or a loved one. 30 husbands have been convicted of killing their wives or stand accused of the crime, as well as 9 common-law husbands. There are 20 boyfriends, ex-boyfriends, or girlfriends who have been convicted or charged. 10 fathers and 6 mothers have been charged or convicted of killing their daughters, sometimes jointly. 8 cases involved sons who killed their mothers or are accused of it.
Men and boys, by contrast, were less commonly killed by someone close to them. 8 mothers and 3 fathers have been accused of killing their sons, together in some cases. Sons were the killer or accused killer in 6 cases. 15 killings involved a wife, common-law spouse, or intimate partner. Wives, girlfriends, and in 3 cases, boyfriends. 3 men have been accused of killing their brother, and more distant relatives have been involved in 15 homicides with male victims. Women were also more likely to be killed than men in what we've classified as domestic confrontations.
Women are also killed in different ways. Males tended to be stabbed or shot, while females were more likely to be stabbed, beaten or bludgeoned, or strangled.
The data also has interesting things to say about geography. Southeast Calgary had the most homicides, but not by much. Homicides happen in virtually every corner of the city. 137 communities have seen a killing since 1990, and 84 have seen more than one. The Beltline had the most killings, followed by downtown. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're the most dangerous. Both are among the city's most populous communities, both tend to have younger, more transient populations, and are home to more than their fair share of drinking establishments. And criminologists say homicide is not the best measure of the danger of a community.
Still, there are other things we can learn from examining homicide data. It sometimes feels that homicide is becoming more common, but there actually tends to be a lot of variance from year to year. The most violent of the last 25 years are 2008, 2007 and 2014, and 1992. The years with the least number of killings were 1993, 1997, and 2003. Specific incidents can sometimes raise annual murder tallies more than long-term trends. 2014, for example, was tied for the second highest number of homicides with 32. But that high tally is partly attributed to the mass killing of 5 University of Calgary students in Brentwood and the triple homicide involving Alan and Kathy Lickness and their 5-year-old grandson Nathan O'Brien. 2007, 2008, and 2009 had a relatively high number of homicides, mostly because of a gang war that took place.
Overall, Calgary's homicide rate sits among the middle of Canadian cities. And compared to American cities, Calgary has a tiny number of killings. There's more. Homicide is a crime that usually goes punished. Of 505 homicides, 378 have resulted in charges or convictions, and 37 homicides have been cleared by other factors such as the death or suicide of the accused. 90 homicides have yet to be cleared, meaning nobody has been identified as the killer. Which tells us that, no matter what the numbers are, it's important to remember that every homicide is important to family members, the wider community, and all of us.
And one thing even more important to remember: the victims themselves.